Choice, identity, respect. For some people, these are freedoms they hardly think about, things that come naturally in their everyday lives. But for others, these are struggles faced every day, shaped by judgment, misunderstanding, and fear. In a world where expectations are often decided for us, choosing who you love and being true to who you are can take great courage. Today, we listen to voices from our community, students, individuals, and stories that reflect real experiences. These voices remind us that identity is not just a label, but a deeply personal journey. Through their words, we begin to understand the importance of acceptance, empathy, and respect in society that is still learning how to embrace differences. This documentary is not just about gender identity, but people understanding people beyond assumptions. It is about learning, listening, and opening our minds to perspectives different from our own. This is Group 1's Grade 10 documentary.
Before we get into our documentary, we must first understand what gender identities are and why they are important to us as individuals and as a society. Learning about these concepts helps us become more aware, respectful, and accepting of the people around us. It also allows us to better understand experiences that may be different from our own. Gender identity refers to a person's internal sense of who they are. This may mean identifying as male, female, or something in between. It is deeply personal and may or may not align with the sex a person was assigned at birth. Gender identity is not something that can be seen from the outside, and it is not something others get to decide. For many people, their gender identity plays a major role in how they express themselves, how they see the world, and how they want to be recognized by others. Sexual orientation, on the other hand, describes who a person is emotionally, romantically, or physically attracted to. This can include attraction to people of the same gender, a different gender, multiple genders, or no gender at all. It is important to understand that sexual orientation is different from gender identity. While gender identity focuses on who a person is, sexual orientation focuses on who the person is attracted to. These are two separate but equally important parts of a person's identity. People do not choose to be part of the LGBTQ community. Instead, they feel naturally drawn to certain gender identities and sexual orientations. These feelings are not a phase or a trend, but a genuine part of who they are. While we cannot control how others identify, we can control how we respond to them. We can choose to show respect, kindness, and understanding, and treat them like any other human being. Rather than judging, ridiculing, or excluding, we can choose to make them a part of us.
Sadly, despite growing awareness, many individuals in the LGBTQ community still experience bullying, discrimination, and misunderstanding. Some are mocked at school, rejected by their families, or treated unfairly in public spaces simply for being themselves. These experiences can have serious effects on their mental health, confidence, and sense of belonging. Feeling unsafe or unaccepted can make everyday life a challenge. Understanding gender identity and sexual orientation is the first step toward creating a more inclusive and accepting environment. When we educate ourselves, we reduce fear and misinformation. We begin to see people not as labels, but as individuals with real emotions, struggles, and stories. Acceptance does not require full understanding, only respect and empathy. Now that we have a clear understanding of these concepts, us hear directly from individuals who are part of the LGBTQ community. By listening to their voices and experiences, we can better understand the challenges they face and the importance of acceptance in today's society.
I'm Mazio Abubakar, and today I'm gonna be interviewing Shahida Abubakar. Could you please introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Shahida. I'm Mazur's sister, and I'm currently a first year AB Political Science student at Ateneo de Manila University.
For our first question, when did you start noticing that you were different from others?
The way I realized that was kind of really cliche. I was hanging out with my friends, and then I looked over at one of my girl na friends, and I realized that what I was feeling was a lot more than friendly.
Did you ever face any kind of bullying, or was someone ever against what you were feeling?
I don't think I've ever been bullied per se, but I think that as a bisexual woman, my sexuality and experiences have been invalidated both in person and online. Yeah.
As a bisexual person, is there any changes that you'd like to see in schools when it comes to more inclusivity to the LGBTQ plus community?
I think because I am an alumna from Chonghua, and when I was in grade 10 as well, we had this lesson. And when we were learning this, it made me question the system and why we're teaching it so late when we're about to leave junior high pa lang. And also, these types of things, like learning how to be more inclusive and learning how to be more open and just overall a better human being, it should start at a young age. Discrimination and oppression is systematic. So when we teach young boys and girls how to first and foremost be a good person, then it's forward from there.
What advice could you give to people who are struggling with their sexual orientation / gender?
Struggling how?
Struggling in terms of confusion with what they are and struggling with coming out.
I believe that that's a part of the process. It's the beauty with the community and sexuality in general is that it's not a one and done thing. It's you figuring out your relationship with yourself, and you shouldn't be so quick to kind of define who you are if you haven't really learned that much yet either. So don't tell people to tell you what you are. And with the whole coming out thing, you should definitely just be going at your own pace. You shouldn't feel pressure to come out at all in any way, shape, or form. And it just involves yourself at the end of the day. You shouldn't really be involving other people in those types of things unless you want them to be.
For our next question, what do you hope viewers learn from your experience?
I think everyone should question their sexuality at least once, or question their attractiveness towards the same gender. You learn a lot about yourself already, like as you're going through your teens and even into adulthood. But just gauging how you perceive others is a really interesting experience.
For our last question, how do you plan on coming out to our parents?
I don't know if I ever will, but if I ever do, I think it would just happen out of nowhere. Like, I'll just suddenly bring a girl home and introduce her as my girlfriend, and that's it.
Okay, so that wraps up our interview. Thank you.
Good day, everyone. I am Sasha Alexis, and I'm from grade 10 Newton, and I will be interviewing.
My name is Abish Bahulaya, and I am from grade 11 Rutherford.
Okay, so we prepared 5 questions. Okay, so question number 1. How does someone realize or explore their gender identity?
For someone to realize and explore for their sexual identity is one thing is they need to pay attention on what they really feel inside. Kasi personally for me, I've been struggling to find out what I really am, and by focusing and I really paid attention on what I want, what I'm comfortable with, I realized that I'm happy with this and I'm much more comfortable to live being like that.
Thank you. And here's a fun twist. Sometimes these moments of realization don't happen in big, like dramatic ahas. They can be tiny, quiet things like feeling seen when you see a character with a gender expression that feels like yours, or realizing you've been performing a gender you don't connect with in a small ways, like dreading a certain type of clothing for years. Okay, for question number 2, why is it important to respect someone's preferred labels or orientation?
I think we should respect their preferred orientations because it makes them feel more seen, accepted, and it shows respect on what they truly am.
Thank you. Think of it this way. If someone told you their name was Lila, but everyone called them Linda, how would you feel? It's not just about being polite, it's about honoring the story behind the label. Every term someone chooses is a piece of how they understand and love themselves. Okay, for question number 3, how can struggling with your identity affect your mental health?
When one person is struggling with their identity, it will cause maybe some stress. They maybe feel misunderstood what they really feel inside. And if you're really stressed about your mental health or something like that, it can not help you be a better person. And personally for me, when I was struggling to find my identity, I was struggling to also help me fit in with other people, and it made me realize that really finding yourself really will make you feel a better person, and you will feel free to express yourself.
Okay, I get where you're going. For me, it's like carrying a backpack full of rocks that you can only see, except the rocks are self-doubt, confusion, or fear of not being enough. Sometimes it shows up as anxiety before social events or feeling disconnected from people who don't get it. But here's the thing, it's not a flaw. It's a sign that you're thinking deeply about who you are. Okay, so question number 4, how can hiding or suppressing your identity affect long-term emotional well-being?
If you are going to hide your true self, it can lead to being trapped and feel unhappy and even feel disconnected with others. And it may also affect the confidence that you have inside, and also the confidence that you need to talk with others, because if you don't know what you really feel, and just like what I said earlier, if you are not true about yourself, and then being with others or connecting with others may be difficult to understand because you don't know what you really feel.
Okay, I get it. Imagine living in a house where you have
to keep your room locked all the time, and the room has all your favorite things, your truest self inside. Over time, the lock gets rusty, and the room starts to feel smaller, or you just start to forget what's in there. But long term, it can lead to feeling numb, or like you're living in a double life. But the good news is, the key never really goes away. Okay, for our last question, how do people know their sexual orientation?
For them to know their sexual orientation, they must know what or who they're attracted to. Like, for example, they must know that they're attracted to, like, emotionally, romantically, and like physically. And this becomes more clearer over the time when they grew and helped themselves to know themselves better. Because, like, for my experience, I was confused throughout my whole when I was like growing up, and my family was also questioning on what I was truly am. But it gets to the point when you are really sure about yourselves, kasi iniisip mo na talaga on what you want, what you like, what you are happy on. And like, I was true to myself that I was like that, and kasi I feel like I was more happy being like that, and I feel more free and I feel more seen.
There's actually no test or timeline for this. Some people know when they're kids, some people know when they're adults, and some people's feelings shift over, and that's totally okay. It's like your taste in music. You might not know you love jazz until you hear it for the third time, or you might realize you've always loved it but never had a name for it. Okay, so that's our interview for you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Okay, so today we'll be interviewing.
My name is Sir Kirby Fabian.
Okay. So for question number 1, sir, why do you think some students will benefit from learning about gender and sexuality in class?
Gender and sexuality is a very profound topic in school right now, in our society. And for me, it is very important for our students to be more open on gender and identity, because number 1, it will help them boost their self-confidence, how they perform in school, and how they become as a person in general.
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, for the next question, do you think school should talk about LGBTQA plus topics?
Yes, it's very timely, because from before, during my time, it is not a very common topic. It's like a taboo, or it was a taboo during my time to talk about sexuality. But right now, we have to be more open na, because number 1, what's wrong with being part of a minority, and we should help them. No, we should help one another.
So for our last question, sir, do you believe learning about LGBTQIA plus topics helps create a safer school environment?
Definitely yes, because number 1, I am an example of it. I was surrounded by teachers who are more open, who are more understanding of who I really am, and it really helped to create a safer environment for me in my school, and which enabled me to perform better. I performed better in terms of academics and also outside of the school.
Okay, so that's it, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome.
Wait, look at that kid sitting alone.
Hey, nice style. What are you supposed to be?
Don't tell me he's one of those faggots.
Yet again, another day, I got discriminated for how I act. Is it even worth it being myself?
God damn. What the fuck is... Yo, how many dicks you suck in a day? Look at that guy over there. Fucking idiot, bro. Is that bag as queer as you, bro? God damn. God damn, bro. Look at the way he's holding his phone, bro. Holy. Yo, are you calling the girlies, bro? God damn, bro. Holy. God damn. Look Look at that shit.
Yeah.
He's on a bag. He's hiding his fucking face too. I'd hide my face too, bro. Holy. God damn.
It's the 10th of December 1948, and the UN General Assembly adopts the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. It states that all human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. Yet fast forward to 2011, and the UN Human Rights Council expresses grave concern at acts of violence and discrimination based on sexual orientation and gender identity. All over the world, lesbian, gay, bisexual and transgender, or LGBT people, are still being subjected to discrimination and acts of brutal violence, torture, kidnapping, even murder. In 76 countries, same-sex relationships are criminalized in violation of basic rights. These abuses must end. The tide is turning. Since 1990, almost 40 countries have legalized same-sex relationships. Many more have lawfully banned discrimination against LGBT people. More and more countries now recognize the urgency and are pressing for action at the UN. In the past 4 years, this has led to the first adopted UN resolution on the issue, the first official UN report, and the first formal intergovernmental debate at the UN Human Rights Council. On the 26th of July 2013, the UN launched Free and Equal, a global campaign designed to raise awareness of homophobic and transphobic violence and discrimination, and to help stop millions of LGBT people being abused for being who they are. We must protect the basic human rights of LGBT people. But it doesn't just require changes in laws and policies. It takes changes in people's hearts and minds. Like the struggle against racism, like the struggle for gender equality, the struggle for LGBT equality will only be won if we join together, if we speak out, if we stand in the defense of the rights of others. The time to do this is now. Together we can stop violence and discrimination against LGBT people. Together we can build a world that is free and equal.
LGBTQ+ discrimination is often treated as something distant, something that only happens in extreme cases or in other places. But the reality is that it exists much closer to home. It shows up in schools, in workplaces, in families, and in everyday interactions. Sometimes it is loud and obvious, other times it's quiet, normalized, and ignored. Throughout this documentary, we've seen how discrimination affects real people. It limits opportunities, damages mental health, and forces many to hide parts of themselves just to feel safe. These experiences are not isolated incidents. They are patterns created by misunderstanding, fear, and a lack of empathy. But discrimination is not natural, it is taught. And because it is taught, it can also be challenged and unlearned. Change does not require everyone to fully understand every identity or experience. It requires respect. It requires listening instead of assuming and learning instead of judging. Allyship does not mean being perfect. It means being aware. It means speaking up when harmful language is used, supporting inclusive spaces, and refusing to stay silent when silence causes harm. Even small actions, such as correcting misinformation, showing support, or standing with someone who is being targeted, can make a meaningful difference. For those who are part of the LGBTQ+ community, your identity is valid, and your existence does not need justification. You deserve safety, dignity, and equal treatment. And for those who are not part of the community, your role is still important. Progress happens when people choose empathy over comfort and action over indifference. Educate yourself. Challenge discrimination when you see it. and help create spaces where people feel accepted for who they are. Equality is not about giving special treatment. It is about ensuring basic human rights for everyone. The future we move toward depends on the choices we make today. And that future becomes possible when we remember one essential truth: people are different, not less.